Hey YouTube, Joshua C here. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to do a tire rotation on your 2012 to 2018 Nissan Versa. So let us begin. So for part 1, and that's elevating the vehicle, you're going to need a jack and jack stands. Preferably 4 would be, I guess, optimal, but I could show you how to get by with 2. Whoa, random squirrel. Squirrel! And some sort of torque instrument. In this case, I got this half-inch drive torque wrench and a 21mm socket. Also, I forgot to mention, preferred would be a half-inch drive breaker bar to use in conjunction with the socket. So this is just merely to break it loose and removal, and that'll be for final installation and torque setting. You're going to want to elevate the vehicle, and so that'll be the first part of this endeavor. Okay, so you should be able to remove this. Just have like 2 hands and then brace it off the tire and just pull, just jerk it off. I didn't mean it like that, but just pull it off, and it should reveal to you the actual steel wheel underneath. As you guys can see, this is my elevating apparatus. So just a hydraulic jack, and I'm picking up the vehicle like this. Before you elevate, make sure you break loose all of the wheel nuts. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay? So these are a 13/16 SAE, or a millimeter, oh my god, a metric equivalent would be 21mm. Now here's a little trick. So if you have it and you're like, oh my goodness, how do people do this? It's not working. There's ways that you could actually index the square so that's more in your favor. You could swap the interface between the socket and the fastener, and the socket and the actual drive handle, so you can find an angle that's best for you. Now you just want to crack them loose. You don't want to run them all the way off. We'll get to that later. So now that you have one side done, I'm going to continue elevating it and proceed with a swap. I'll insert a picture that shows the an actual Nissan diagram and what they recommend rotation wise. So you guys hang in there. So now it's just a simple matter of swapping the front wheel to the rear and vice versa, the rear to the front. What you want to do is make sure that the actual wheel is seated evenly. Now the best way to do that is, you guys can see the seat of the lug nut corresponds with the bevel in the wheel, and of course it's not going to be perfect when you first put it on. So what you want to do is slowly tighten each of these in a preferred sequence. So you don't want to run this all the way while these are all loose. So you almost kind of want them to help self-center the actual wheel onto the hub. Okay, so now after all of these have been tightened down, you just want to snug them. You could use, I guess, a breaker bar. That'd be a little excessive, but you just want it so when you actually lower the jack that it doesn't decouple or bind. So you want it to be actually snugged up, the wheel snugged up against the hub. Let's lower it, and we're ready for the torque. Okay, now we're gonna get ready to torque it. So in this case, the torque is going to be 83 pound-feet. So I'm just going to move my scale over. Okay, so the torque spec for this particular vehicle is 83 pound-feet. So that's what I'm going to use. And a 21mm socket. No extensions, no adapters, even though technically that has no impact on torque. I'm going to use the simplest system I can. One socket, one instrument. So let's go. Okay, so I'm going to torque these in a sequence such as this: 1, 2, 3, 4. So like a cross pattern, and I'm going to do that for both of them. Okay, just a note when torquing, I always like to support the head of the ratchet, and when you deliver torque, you want to make sure it's smooth. You don't want to be jerky, you don't want to be too slow, nor you don't want to go too fast either. But you just want to make sure that you apply the torque in a very smooth fashion, and if you happen to over torque it, you want to break the fastener loose all the way and then re-torque it. Another important thing when torquing or using a precision instrument, where you want to do is place your hand in the center of that grip is I mean, it's reasonably possible. So something like this, and you're on it, ratchet it and try to get it in one swing. Right there. And this one has the added benefit of showing you what your actual applied torque was. So that's very useful. Your torque wrench, whatever the price point, should be more or less follow the same principles. Appropriate hand grip and appropriate rate at which you apply torque. So be smooth, not jerky, and be, I guess, reasonable in pace. Don't be too slow, don't creep the torque, and don't run past it. So now that your wheels are appropriately torqued, it's time to put the hubcaps back on. And that's just simply a matter of lining up the cutout relief for the valve stem and trying your best to center it and placing it on the wheel and just gently slapping it around the perimeter. So I held it and then just hit pretty much every other spoke. I'll do a real-time demonstration on this one. Whew. So now you want to index it. So find the cutout for the valve stem and then make sure that the ring goes inside. So this is what tensions the hubcap onto the inner lip of the steel wheel. So once you have it like this, I'm so sorry guys, I'm doing this one-handed. But if I can do it like this, you guys can. And so now you're gonna just slap it and hit it. Obviously try not to damage it, but do your best guys. If I could do that awkwardly while holding a cell phone, then you guys can do it. So that's one side. The other side is completely the same, so I'm not going to show it. So hopefully this helps. Please provide any comments or questions down below. My name is Joshua C. You guys take care.